years, I gave birth to 4 children for him. I was homeschooled. I did not escape him until I was 24 years old. And now he's serving 90 years in prison for the crimes he committed against me and my sisters. So in my process of reestablishing myself and raising my children, I had a problem finding resources. And I decided that what I wanted to do was to take what happened to me and transform it into something positive by using my own experiences and figuring out a way on how to support other survivors, educate the public about these issues and how to prevent them, and also just be an advocate and raise awareness and really change the way people, the system, our culture thinks about child molestation and domestic violence, and really understand the impact that it has on our society as a whole. So that's how I started the organization, and it's been a labor of love since I started it in 2015, and we're making a lot of strides. So I'm encouraged, and hopefully a lot of people are encouraged as well.
That is quite a story.
Yeah.
I commend you for having the strength to talk about it, because I'm sure that's why you have your nonprofit, because everybody's told to hush about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes people's mothers know about these things and they get mad at their daughters or their children, and things don't, get resolved. How did you gain the strength to talk about it, to have this situation in the forefront?
I think, well, since you mentioned that, a lot of mothers do kind of allow and enable the situation. Mm-hmm. That was the case with my mom. She considered me the other woman. So growing up as a teenager, I didn't have an advocate, which is why my mission is to strengthen the bond between mothers and daughters, because it's not uncommon. A lot of times, a mother will blame the daughter for pulling the attention of her man or of her partner away from the mom. And that was the case in my situation. As far as finding the strength, I think that it was something that was probably always in me as a child, something that my Creator had given me. And I believe that we all have the strength to go through a lot of things that we're faced with, but it's really about learning to access it. So I believe that I maintained kind of like my childlike innocence and trust just in God, in the universe, and just always just saw ways. And I just always knew that one day I would be able to escape my father. It was really about finding out or learning how to do that. So now being able to talk about what happened to me, I think I am mostly fueled by the empathy that I feel for other children, for other women, and I'm just really driven to rid the world. Ultimately, it sounds like a big a big endeavor, but ultimately rid the world as much as possible of these things, because it's destroying our society. My father delivered all of my children at home, so when I escaped him and was reestablishing myself, my children did not have birth certificates or social security numbers. Now, being my situation was so unheard of and so uncommon, Social Security didn't know how to deal with it. Social services didn't know how to deal with it. Welfare didn't know how to deal with it. So I had to find my own way. I had to go directly to Trenton and help them create a process to help me. So I'm taking all of that information and creating ways to help other women and other families that's in my same situation, really help get them on track to come from. I mean, girls, women, they're having children. There are so many children that are undocumented that were born in America.
Yeah.
And the process, usually you have a baby in the hospital and, birth certificate's filled out. No one knows how to start it from scratch. So we're actually working with Senator Ron Rice to help kind of get these things in place, or at least prepare the system for something like this, that way it's easier for them to go through?
You know, I have never contemplated that. That is an interesting phenomenon. Undocumented Americans. I you have me so speechless here today, and I'm never speechless. I'm very rarely. I've probably been speechless probably 5 times in my whole life, and that is something, because I'm glad that you are partnering with a politician / legislator, because we need those types of protections and those directions, because I'm sure there are girls who have experienced that, but for him to have the expertise to know how to deliver a child, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, through him, and it's something, because there is a dichotomy, especially when it's a parent that has hurt you, because I learned everything, not everything, but a lot of what I know from my father. He schooled me. He gave me the education that I had up until I was 11 years old. He trained me. He motivated me. Yes, it was under an iron fist, but you know, it instilled in me certain disciplines. And one of those was the ability to think outside of the box. So when I came up against a lot of challenges, there was no barriers. I didn't have any boundaries to say, well, because I don't know, I'm afraid to ask. I just asked, I sought, and through that process, I'm just got all of this information. So, you know, I use the organization to share it.